hello and welcome. I'm Sue Britz.
And I'm Tina Lokkbakk. Welcome back to, or if this is your first time, welcome to Re-Tired.
It's the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to our next adventure.
Drive on, Sue.
Drive on. So, how's spring treating you, Tina?
Spring.
Spring has sprung?
Not up here. Yeah, we had ice storms and sleet, and it's very much winter, and I'm not ready for spring. I'm still enjoying my winter.
Yeah, our daffodils are already up and gone, and moving on to all the allergens in the air with all the flowers and everything. It's a nice transition time. Crisp air from the storms that we had. It's been nice.
And all the white flowers. You have all the white flowers going on in the trees
Yep.
that look like snow.
Yep. All the almonds.
Oh, it's almonds and blossoming pear, I think.
Yes. Oh, those
Flowering
stinky
pear.
ones. Those are disgusting.
Yes, there's a special name for those if you didn't know, but we won't talk about it here. Although we are explicit now.
So tell me, I don't know.
Oh, I can't. I'm too embarrassed. It's my teacher filter. I can't say it. But it smells like a particular item, a
Uh,
particular scent.
not sure what that is, but
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
So today, Ms. Tina, we're going to talk about AI.
Well, is that I? What is AI?
Artificial intelligence.
I.
Okay. Okay. I was
Okay,
dancing.
Sue, I felt like we were out at a club
I
clubbing.
know. I was dancing and everything. It was fun.
That was very fun.
Okay, so AI, this came up. It's in the news all the time anyhow. But it came up for me because I was just I was reading a couple of articles and then I thought, well, let me try it because I tried the chat, whatever it was.
Fox.
Yeah, and I didn't like it. It
Or
was, I mean,
GT.
it didn't find like it did anything for me. But I tried this other one and I put in our statement of what our show is, the same intro that we just shared, the podcast where we talk about what life is like when we put on new tread, new wheels that move us to the next adventure. And I asked AI to give us their take. So, do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Hey.
To be retired is to embrace the cycle of renewal, much like a traveler who swaps out worn-out wheels for fresh ones before embarking on a new journey. It's about shedding the old, well-worn layers and donning a fresh set of treads, ready to explore uncharted roads, chase sunsets, and dance with the wind. Imagine it, new rubber meeting asphalt, each groove whispering secrets of distant horizons. The past, a fading tread pattern, now replaced by the promise of adventure. The hum of the road becomes a symphony, and the miles stretch out like an open book, waiting for your story to be written. Retired, you become the architect of your own Odyssey. The odometer resets, but the memories linger, the scent of pine forests, the taste of roadside coffee, the warmth of campfires shared with kindred spirits. You're not just changing tires, you're recalibrating your soul, aligning it with the compass of wanderlust. And as you roll forward, remember this: life is a highway, and you're the driver. So, my fellow traveler, put on those new wheels, let the rubber kiss the road, and chase the sun until it dips below the horizon. Adventure awaits, and you're retired and ready.
Thoughts?
I think it's so excellent. And yes, it's a little bit too flowery and a little bit over the top, but I'm genuinely impressed. And for me, I believe it's so much in metaphors, and I think that it was shockingly good. And I could see how it's difficult to be a human and keep up with that. And how long did it take you to pull it up? With that one sentence, it came out with that in how many seconds?
I just said, tell me what it means to be retired, to put on new wheels, new tread for the next adventure.
I mean, honest to God, that, especially because I have done a lot of writing, the time that would take to write something that excellent could be days.
Well, see, now your take and mine were totally different. My instant reaction was, "Holy cow!" or let's go. My my reaction was, "Holy shit, are you kidding?" It was so flowery, so over the top, so sappy and cloying. It was disgusting. However, there were little gems in there, and I was just shocked. It got me. It got me, which is astounding.
Tag.
What does tag mean?
I don't know. It got you. I just felt like I needed to tag you. Like it
Oh,
touched you. Like it froze you for a second. And my line that stood out, I had to write it down. It was so good. You're the architect of your own Odyssey.
oh, that's nice.
I loved it.
See, so now if you go a little soft on one of those lines and you just talk about that or think about that or retrieve that when you need to, that makes sense. But to me, this thing, it's so cloying. It was just over the top, but it was beautiful. There's parts in there I think we're gonna be pulling out and using. No,
I agree.
and by the way, when you said you tagged me, I thought, what is that? Is this a new like hashtag or like a Facebook tag? Why were you tagging? I didn't get it. So
It
it
brought me back to sixth grade and we're out on the field and I just tagged you. That's it. I
well,
touched you with my finger.
well, and that's the cool thing. See, we're bringing together technology together with our old-fashioned ways of thinking. It's kind of yeah, this AI thing has brought out the exact thing that we're talking about for our show here. We were talking before we started recording about what our vision is for this podcast, and the idea is to exactly what she said. And it's interesting. It was her voice, which was kind of cool, but um, it's getting a fresh take, a fresh life, a new identity, and it's not just about being retired from a job. It's about
Finding
yeah,
yourself
it's so cool.
or rediscovering the past self.
And Tina, as you roll forward, remember, life is a highway.
And then isn't there
I wanted to sing the
all
song.
night
Yeah, I wanted to
long,
start
right?
singing. Oh man. Okay, so let's move on to our
Oh,
topic. What? Go ahead.
wait, I have to say something because it's so real. So in looking at like my news feeds, I always read NPR and BBC virtually every day, virtually get it. Anyway, and they always make the capital I not look like a capital I. So for the
Yep.
longest time, I'm like, who the hell
Al.
is Al? Who the hell is Al? Just sharing.
Okay, you're not the only one. I think. Well, I know I've done that, and I'm sure, many, many, many of us who are retired feel that way. That people of our generation, but even like a kid would go Al. They'd probably call it Al. And we're back. I'm a little off today, but you told me
And that's where I just said, right? Oh,
yeah.
I guess that's what makes you human.
I'm not artificial.
No, but you do have
Oh,
intelligence.
thank you very much, and so do you.
Thanks.
AI, it's in the news, it's everywhere. I took a quiz the other day. Can you tell if this is AI? And I thought for sure I would do pretty well, and I got 40%. I mean, total failure.
Wow.
So,
Not a
yeah.
total failure.
Well, I think that, like, for example, that piece that she read for us, if a student turned that into me as a piece of writing, certainly in sixth grade, I'd go, okay, yeah, you've
Oh,
been on,
sixth grade,
yeah.
ridiculous.
Even
Yeah.
high school, I'd go, yeah,
Yeah.
and because
Especially when you know your students and what they're capable of or what they've proven up to a point.
well, but
Yeah.
also it was so over the top with all the sugar stuff that you wouldn't learn necessarily or want to even use because they're not terms that you would have a young person would use. So the
Mm.
voice just was off would be off for a high school or even a college student, I think.
But you know what? I have to point something out. That's my kind of writing. Like I am flowery when I write like that. So to me, that sounded completely something that I would have spent days writing, and it would have been just like that. So it's because that may not be your genre of writing from your insides, but from my insides, that's what it would be.
Okay, so Tina, I hear what you're saying, and here's what I will say. I think that perhaps you would write like that, but it wouldn't be so condensed with all that cloying shit. Okay, it had would have to be spread out a little bit and used to convey more meaty conversation in your writing. I think that is true of you. But I could see you are very sweet, so you'd have all those all that in there.
Flowery
Yes,
wind,
yes.
hair in the wind and the hair in the wind.
When did they?
Both. They're
uh,
different. One's messy hair and one's not, depending on which way you say it.
so what are your interactions with AI? What have you had or heard recently?
God, I was thinking, I think it was when I made my first website for my blog, and it was a friend that recommended that I use the chat box thing or this chat GT, and I did. And I got what I needed out of it. It didn't make an impression either way. For whatever, I can't even specifically remember what I used it for, but I know I didn't want to pay the monthly fee because I thought I'm not going to revisit this again. I'd rather just write it on my own.
Yeah.
So, but I loved what it did for this, and maybe each AI version it does something different. Maybe I relate more to this, or I'm more open to it. I don't know, but I kind of liked it. I don't know that I would use it because I enjoy writing from my own heart. Not, I don't want to use snippets of AI.
Well, and this brings us to what it is to be like teachers. It's going to redefine what education is, and we've already heard from colleagues that have talked about it. But I think that it comes back to is if you're gonna you first of all, I think you need to have a policy about AI. I mean, I remember when we were teaching, kids would often go to Wikipedia, cut and paste, stick it on there, and you're like, okay, all I have to do is put it through a filter, and I can tell that this is not yours. And in fact, here's the page you took it from. It tells you the page. But this doesn't work the same. AI doesn't work the
Mm-mm.
same. So it's about making sure kids learn to be critical thinkers. There's so many levels of information ways to look at AI in education. Um, I think that if kids can start recognizing what is AI produced and understanding maybe they've been scammed with AI, what is real and what's not real, uh, then they can understand the importance of representing themselves. If they're fooling themselves by using AI instead of thinking, then they're going to get somewhere where
Wow.
the rubber meets the road, and uh, they they will find out that uh, they can't do it, and they are a sham. So if they use it as a scam, they are a sham. Ooh, that's a good.
In a way, AI it's just another version of the same thing as cheating. I think we would have to, again, maybe we teach our students the value and the consequences of being honest in their work and to own personal responsibility for not doing the work. Because I think every day it's going to pop up as a new way of scamming and shamming. But we've been doing this now for generations. I mean, really since forever. It's honesty versus not honesty. It's just another tool of dishonesty,
Well, my point is
or could be.
I'm thinking out because they could be fooled by it themselves. They need to understand that if they're fooling themselves in producing this quote work of theirs, that they are in fact doing the same thing to other people. So I think it's like a cyclical thing that could almost help them understand how
Oh,
how
right.
how to use it, because this is the other thing. There are new the new way approach that many educators are using is to use the tools of AI to help you become a better writer. So, for example, some kids, and I remember them clearly, the kids in the classroom, you give them a topic and they just can't get started. For the life of them, they can't get started. You may have done your best practices where you do a group brainstorm and you put all the ideas on the board, and there's just so many ideas, or they can't connect with one of the ideas. So you could use AI to brainstorm because
To
there's
get
a
you started.
function. Yeah, there's a brainstorm function in AI. So they could, okay, so that's going to get me started, and then I do my own thing. Or it could be like to write a good paper to prove your point, you need a counterpoint. But kids and adults too, but kids can't think of what the opposite argument would be because they see their point of view and they're not don't have the life experience to imagine the other. And so the a counter argument could be offered by AI, and that would help them to then respond and represent that idea. So it could be a really good useful tool.
I see it.
Well, let alone refining grammar and so forth. So if you're grading someone on grammar and all that, you just have to do a test without AI. But otherwise, why are we wasting time on grammar? I mean, if we've got this tool that can help you take care of the grammar, and you can talk about your ideas in a more profound and more organized way, then it can be very useful.
So I have a question. When you've thought of this topic, how how do we want to tie it into this vision that we have of quitting something and embracing the new and discovering the new or reconnecting with the old?
Well, I think that's what my point with AI is. It's right in front of our face, and it is pushing us from the old into this new. The idea, I mean, so many things come out of this. I mean, right now, what's going on with our political environment and the political ads? We need to. It's a serious time in our history. We need to understand and know what's going on, and not be tricked into lies, I should and when you can use AI to mimic someone's voice or make it sound like they said something and then pass that off as real, that's scary shit. Scary, scary.
So, and I'm coming at it because I asked myself, and it came back to, I think often, Sue, when we retire, it's a retracting. It's like fall going into winter. And so many people, once they retire, stagnate. And I think that this is a great example of us exploring something that's new in our retirement years. These are the things that if we're willing to keep opening it up and discussing it, we will continue to grow. And that's what life really, I think, needs to be about, is to keep growing. So I think these topics, as they come up, to discuss them and view them from this perspective on the other side, as we're still the newbies that we kind of began with technology. You know what I mean? I think
Yep.
our generation began it and moved it, but I see so many people retracting after retiring. Your
Absolutely.
thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. And if you don't engage with, we talked about this in another episode. If you don't engage with technology, you're gonna be left out, which is okay. I mean, if that's what you want, but to
It
be
could be isolating.
very much so, and you're cutting off a lot of your involvement in the world and understanding the world, and heck, even understanding what's on the TV in front of you. So if you're being scammed or misinformed, that's really important to know and understand, especially again right now with what's going on politically in our nation. So I mean, then we have scams too. I've had a a number of people I've heard from that as you get older, you fall for these technological scams. Their phone calls or their emails or their texts. Uh,
One click away from losing everything.
well, yeah, and then you engage with these people, and you need to understand the scams. And so those are people, but they're more able and more convincing to do these things because of AI. And
Lack of awareness, too.
yeah, and if we as consumers, as people in the world that exist with, interact with the world, if you don't understand some of this and then kind of keep up on it, it's easy to fall prey, I think.
Yeah, maybe we'll save that topic for another time because I recently, in the last 2 years, have been almost scammed twice.
Scary.
Very. And I feel and I'm fairly aware of the world.
Hmm.
Now, if you fast forwarded me 30 years older, how I would have been scammed.
Yep. So, Tina, another thing that came up that I had heard about recently with AI involves someone like you who's an author. So your author, your your people are writing books and they're selling them on Amazon, and then these knockoff um, books come out, and some of these books are like 70 pages instead of the 300 or whatever it was, and some of them are even coming out before the book is released, so that the preview idea of that the author had is out, and they're selling.
Wow, this is so new to me.
Well, Amazon's trying to, and it's doing a pretty good job, but trying to eliminate those from showing up on their service, but that's scary stuff. I mean, so as an author, you know,
Wow.
how do you keep your own um the rights to your own work? And same thing happens with the AI created imagery and the films that they're doing. They come from a collection of
Oh, of
images
everybody
and
else's
data.
work.
Yes. And
So in a way,
that's
it's stealing.
it is
It is
absolutely.
stealing.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I never thought. So that's how it would generate this book because it stole. But you're saying, from what I'm understanding, let's say there's this novel, and you're saying it's like a condensed Cliff Notes version so that you don't have to buy the big one and you can just get to the meat. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're doing
Or
all
is it a
kinds.
compilation of various authors to go under this topic from a best-selling book? I don't know.
My understanding is that you put in a long enough prompt with ideas, and then it produces this book. And so a person who does that might just send that off and sell that as their book, or they might do some of their own refining or editing or changing. I'm not sure about that, but they AI created material is out there passing itself off as author produced,
Making money.
making money, or and more importantly stealing ideas going that other people have created. So this is a huge thing. It's going on in writing, it's going on in image production, film. It's everywhere.
So I I looked under BBC this morning, and here's another example. Let me see if I can find the picture. Yep. Trump supporters target black voters with AI fakes. And so they have a picture of Trump in the midst of an African American group, he being the only non African American. So they're saying it's AI. And wow. So that was kind of shocking because that could change a lot
Well,
if
yeah,
it's not true. I mean, it could change all voting thoughts.
that's what I've been saying.
Right. So it impacts every part of our lives, not just book authors, but even something as big as a political election,
Well, political
perhaps.
ads, there have been AI created shit out there that are lies, and actually using the voice or image of the person in an attack campaign, for example, and they've created their own attack that they've AI created. It's not even real. It
So
never
do we
happened.
do we have a government position yet where you are the AI filterer? I mean,
Well,
do we,
there's a lot
you
there's a
know?
lot of discussion about that nationwide, worldwide, about and they're what they've my understanding is they've signed these agreements to use AI in certain ways and to monitor it in certain ways. I'm not sure, but yeah, there's a lot of discussion about it. You are holding up that picture. This is the other thing that's come out recently is AI has a bias. So when you do this came up recently too. It was kind of cool, kind of funny but not. Um so someone the AI produces it amplifies the worst stereotypes that are out there. So for example,
Oh,
you
so flowery in a non-healthy way.
right. So
Okay.
you're gonna get so for example, you might see write a story about a doctor who discovers a cure for the common cold. Okay, so that doctor, of course, is going to be a white male.
Oh,
Okay, things
wow.
like that, something simple like that. That
Wow.
and so if you're massively producing this stuff that first of all it already exists in our society, but then you add in AI's um backing up that same concept of certain people have certain jobs and based on your ethnicity, your gender,
Wow.
you're excluded from things.
Whew. Anyway, I'm sorry. Wow, that's just shocking. Shocking. And honestly, this wouldn't have shocked me 20 years ago. It's been my journey of learning and growing in the self-help area that I've opened my mind to things that I never saw before because I was so traditional as a stay-at-home housewife mom, right?
Absolutely. Well, and then AI also has the other thing that happened that just recently there was this thing where they were saying AI has a liberal bent, and so it's trying to be politically correct and be quote woke, and so when people
What
were
it come up with.
it came up with a female pope, a female woman of color pope,
Oh,
and that cannot that are ever, never real, Well, maybe one
so
day
it's
there'll
the
be a pope.
exact opposite.
The exact opposite. And it's and
Wow.
that is dangerous too. I mean, so
Yes.
they had to pull their AI and the image production because they were putting this stuff out there, and the people thought it was real, or it was controversial because the complaints about trying to be politically correct. So it's all going in circles of like what is real and what's not, and
Well, let's go into the conspiracy theories. All of the conspiracy theories that were
should
out there
we?
about COVID and all of that. Well, I wonder how much of that was AI generated.
Well, it's a good question, and I don't know that anyone has the full answer, but my our point here in our podcast is it's out there, it's ongoing,
Mhm.
and we need to
It's
be
part of our life now.
yes, and we need to be aware of it. To embrace the potentially good parts. They talk about what it could do medically and so forth, but it's got a lot of potential to be it's being misused and to misrepresent, and we want to avoid that. Your final thoughts?
It's like every other piece of technology. It's like every other thing in this world that we experience. There's always something positive, and there's a flip side of the coin where there are things that are negative. And we just have to, hopefully, there's enough of us that can use it and see it for the positive instead of use it and abuse it in the negative.
And I was reminded of one of the articles I read. It was in the Washington Post where uh, the the way we can tell an AI story is not real or is not as good as human made. It's like a bedtime story, a kid's book, and it can tell you a story, but it won't have the same feeling and depth as the creativity, the warmth that a human being can communicate in a story with the pictures.
I don't know. I kind of felt that introductory piece that you had was quite the bedtime story. It was fluffy and descriptive, and it tickled my heart in some places.
Okay, well, we'll have to agree to disagree.
That sounds good, Sue.
That wraps up this episode of Retired. Thanks for listening.
Until next week, please feel free to lend your feedback or ask questions by emailing us at retiredpodcastnewtread@gmail.com. You're invited to follow us on Facebook at Retired Podcast New Tread. Check the show notes for links and contact information.
Retired is co-hosted by Sue Britz and Tina Lokkbakk. It's produced, directed, and edited by me, Sue Britz. Music and graphics are by me too. Please click to subscribe so that you won't miss your chance to join our
Join our retired road trip.